I'm Alan Robarge, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist, and my work is about improving relationships and understanding attachment trauma and working to heal attachment injuries. This video is about our desire, our need, the normal human want for companionship, and the ongoing chronic sense of absence that we experience and that we feel with loneliness. And this video, in talking about loneliness, is about how it is universal. It is not personal. It is not some personal failing or a state of mind or something about your flawed psychology that you need to change so that you never feel lonely again. Now, of course, there's such thing as a pathological loneliness that moves into a space of a symptom of ongoing chronic clinical depression, and you might need to address that. You might need to look at that. But what I want to capture as best I can, as challenging as this is in an existential sense, we are born fundamentally with this sense, this gnawing sense of emptiness, this gnawing sense of I'm really alone here. And understandably, we are designed to connect to other people. Our attachment system, our nervous system, our brain is coded and mapped in such a way that our attachment system wants quality bonding in order to benefit our maturing and our growth and our safety, and so that we can feel trust in our world, and then we can thrive beyond survive. And when we're in relationship, that helps give us meaning and comfort. And this companionship is so integrally important to managing and balancing the universal experience of the fact that we are still simultaneously alone. And this deep-seated, this core place of longing for connection, and that we experience ourself as a non-self, which sounds confusing, but this is the place where we even lose really understanding who we are, and we tap into some very younger, immature, younger parts of ourself, our innocent parts, where we really feel alone in this world. The purpose of this video, to set this up, even if you're watching this and say, yeah, duh, yeah, no, yeah, like, yeah, that's true. We really are alone, even if you're in relationship, even if you have family, even if you have a big extended family, even if you have this great job. And then something will happen where there's going to be some kind of crack in the story. There's going to be a break in the continuity of feeling some sense of tether or ground, and the groundlessness opens up. And for many of us, when we lose that job, when someone gets news of illness in the family, when a relationship ends and we get a divorce, we don't feel as tethered and grounded in our network of companionship, our network of connection, our network of attachment. And it can rattle and shake the ground till the groundlessness opens up, and we are confronted with this emptiness. And a response to the emptiness is the longing, and the discomfort around the longing is the loneliness. And living in this place that's very provocative. And we usually scramble. We usually work really, really hard to get out of this place, to avoid it. Let's not stay here. It's painful. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be reminded of my aloneness. And for some of us, we have personal history that either compounds this or even confuses it, or confuses us to the point where we think loneliness is solely ours and that it's personal and it's just something that you have to manage in your own head on your own because you are psychologically flawed around your inability to just get rid of it. And I'm trying to propose that, well, you can't really get rid of it. You can change your relationship to it. You can learn skills to not be provoked by it, to not be set on fire with it, to have some kind of acceptance of being able to visit that place of longing for companionship, and the response is to feel the ache and the haunting absence of loneliness. And you sit there, and you're going to feel like life is passing you by, and you're going to feel like you're being deprived. Again, I share this as a kind of to normalize this, that this is universal. This is not about how you're broken or flawed or have some kind of psychological problem that you just need to fix it. This is the place of addiction. People can't handle this. I gotta get out of here. I gotta escape. I cannot manage the intensity of this human, existential, haunting emptiness. Now, you realize also this is the place of complete projection, and this is, you can have any number of, gurus and life coaches and anybody who self-elevates themselves to some level of accomplishment, to beat the system, live your best self, live your best life, find your potential, actualize. You can totally, get on the path to being enlightened. Seek out your bliss, find your bliss, just marinate in your happiness, and you deserve it. And it's all of this kind of empty promise to deny that there's emptiness. And this video is to say, it's painful, and it is frightening. And we want so much a companion, in some kind of solid, permanent, unmoving, forever friend, forever relationship that will buffer and safeguard and keep us from ever having to feel this feeling. And if we felt so overwhelmed by our existential loneliness, and our family itself was lonely, which is lonely on top of lonely, and we only, we got stuck acting or relating to this overwhelmed intensity of loneliness from the point of view of a 7-year-old, or the point of view of a 9-year-old, or a 12-year-old. We are unable, we just so quickly get shut down because it has always been too much. And this video is to invite you to begin to strengthen the skill to manage the too muchness. It's too much. But we don't run, we don't hide, we don't try to scheme and come up with the next best relationship. We don't seek out some internet guru healing marketing dude who is going to tell you that if you just get all worked up and you focus on, the ideal life that you need to live and find your true purpose, and then you will never have to feel lonely again. And it's all based upon aggression, the aggression around denying your own reality. And many people want to buy into this. And we buy into this, the promise of a relationship. The projection of what is possible. Oh, you mean I might be able to buffer myself from this haunting, universal loneliness for the next 15 years, the next 25 years? Or if we're lucky, I'll just die. And I assume that we assume the other person will be a placeholder to distract us enough. But you realize, again, this is not personal. It is not about your story or you needing to strengthen your psychology or your mind or learn some new great skills so that you never have to feel lonely. And believe me, you can easily, go ahead and search the internet, find YouTube videos of anybody who's selling to you, for $1,999, will teach you the 12 top secrets of how you could never have to feel alone again. And you can come into your higher purpose and manifest meeting other like-minded people so that you are, living in the now and you're living the promise, and you're accessing the gold of your potential. It's a lot of promise to cover up the fact that we're fundamentally empty. And it's okay. And that emptiness has a very personal flavor of loneliness, and we relate to that emptiness through the loneliness. But we don't want to hear that. We don't want to believe that. We don't want to touch that, because it's so unfamiliar and so groundless that it also brings a terror. There's a terror beneath. And we are trying to manage the terror. Now, everything that I am saying is a setup where I've been trying to lay the groundwork around this normal loneliness, this normal emptiness that is so provoking to our sense of self, and so provoking to feeling safe and okay in this world. And so it makes sense that we also really need ways to tether ourselves to other people, and to tether ourselves to identity and meaning and organizations, and make sure that we're connected. Because it's very hard if those tethers are life preservers, so that we can float, so that we can move through this ocean of emptiness. And I often use the word wasteland. When we're really in the wasteland, in this place, this emptiness is so provocative. So there's a goodness to also wanting to be connected. And here's the setup. Here's why I'm sharing this video. Many of us do not realize how incredibly angry we are that we have this fundamental existential loneliness. And that many times our prolonged grief and our very intense grief and our working and reworking and working and reworking of all the little details and what happened in the relationship, and this relationship can end, and this could be years and years. And if you're familiar with any of my previous videos, also what gets thrown in there is that if you have attachment trauma that is unresolved, you are preconditioned through your brain to also latch onto this loss and as a trauma symptom to start looping in this place where it's unresolvable. So that too might exaggerate the underlying existential loneliness that is just at times fundamentally unworkable, because as a human being it is very, very challenging and hard to have the maturity and the clarity and the wherewithal and, quite honestly, the sanity. It takes an incredible amount of power and sane knowing that you can sit in this place and not lose yourself, lose your marbles, lose your mind. And you don't have to, as I said before, this is the place where people say, I need a drink here. I cannot sit in this intensity. I am longing to be rescued from this place. Hey, I know, let's pick up an addiction. And we can pick up, it could be a substance addiction, it could be anything. But it's this stirring that's so painful and so hard to actually confront. And when we look in the mirror and see ourselves, we're just, mirrors back to us is more emptiness. And now I'm getting very, a bit esoteric and philosophical, is this idea that our self, our sense of self, our identity, Alan doesn't really exist. Alan is an idea. And when I sit there with the emptiness of Alan, and I realize, wow, I'm just perpetuating my own idea of who I think I am. And it's built up of all these memories and stories and habitual thoughts. And when I really let that fall apart and fall away, I'm still returning back to this place of emptiness, this haunting place. And for many of us, when we enter a relationship, we really sincerely believe, we are hoping so much, the stakes are so high, we must have this relationship work out, because I cannot die in this place of this profound absence and emptiness that I experience as a haunting loneliness. And my only relationship to it is to not have resource, is to implode, to shut down, and to relate to it the same way I did when I just shut it down at a very early age. I have not really practiced. We have not really practiced. Can we hang out in this place from a stronger, more mature sense of self? Well, we need to developmentally grow up through it then. We need to mature, and we need to allow ourselves to emotionally age with our loneliness. And this is a discipline, this is a practice, and many of us don't make time for it. Many of us do not even see why it is valuable. Even, many have turned the video. Many have turned the video off at this point. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Not interested. I think I'm just going to go on Tinder and swipe this way, swipe that way. I need a partner. I just need someone, if I could just find the right relationship. And again, the point of the video is that when a relationship ends, oftentimes what appears to be us grieving for the relationship is that we are having a profound reaction. We are kicking and screaming. We are having a full-blown temper tantrum, noble. It is very noble to kick and scream around the impossibleness of being asked to make peace with this foundational emptiness. It is so many of it's so daunting, which is why we say, well, that's fine, good for you. That's a nice philosophical idea. I just think I just need to, let me text the person of choice. Let me pursue that one relationship I can't totally get out of. Let me start all over and find the next one. And this is how you have a lot of very chronic daters and people who have never been able to be alone and out of relationship at all. And they are serial monogamous, but it doesn't have to be monogamy, but serially in relationship. This, I cannot stress enough how conscious and subconscious, just this drive, this haunting sense of absence and loneliness is playing in the background. And when something happens, when someone dies, when we're confronted with grief, when a relationship ends, when we lose our job, when life shakes us up and it's not business as usual, there's a change in the routine. And all of a sudden, that haunting, groundless aloneness is not in the background. It's right here again. Here it is. And the point of this video is to say it is okay that here it is again, and you have a choice. You can choose to get on board with doing this work. This is, we are now transcending into this is spiritual work. And you can define whatever you want to say that it's spiritual work. But I just use that word to mean it just goes a little bit into the transcendent, beyond the personal. And now we're working on a whole other level as a human being, and how we just realize that, part of this challenge to be here. And this also is the place of so much animosity and hatred and projection and war and anger towards other people, because we fundamentally cannot manage our own existential, haunting, empty, absent loneliness. And the only way we've perceived to make it work is to get something, get in, I need a relationship. I need, $1 million. I need this type of house. I need to have kids now. I gotta create a family. And we're scrambling to fill it up. The approach is, the knee-jerk reaction to working with this foundational emptiness is to say, well, I'm gonna fill it up. I just gotta find some big enough thing that will fill up that space so I never have to feel my aloneness, the emptiness, the existential longing that's always there, but we like to check out and pretend it's not there. And this video is a reminder that at least in this moment, maybe not when I'm finished with the video or next week or next month, whenever, but at least in this moment, I am not pretending. And I'm inviting you to not pretend either. And again, this is noble work. This is really, really, this is not for the faint of heart. But the value, the benefit, why do we do this? Is because to keep trying to fill it up and to try to beat the system, to try to, get one over on, humanity, or not humanity, but on, existence. And to think that you're going to somehow outmaneuver your own aloneness. Well, good luck with that. And it probably will continue to, you will experience it as bumping into a wall, and it will bring back some startling experience of groundlessness, where you're going to be right back at the same place we're talking about right now. And how is this helpful? How is this message helpful if you're grieving, if you struggle in relationship, if a relationship has ended and you find yourself still lamenting and longing for the person? This information can be helpful. Is that one reason why we are so incredibly latched onto, we are so tenaciously holding on to a relationship that didn't work out, and we want this one to work out, is that it's a placeholder. It is buffering us from having to feel the feeling, or we're still trying to negotiate and bargain. How can we not have the experience of this profound, groundless emptiness that comes out as, that we feel as a longing and a loneliness? And sometimes it's a bit easier for the brain to make sense of that, for the mind to make sense of that, by, well, let's just latch on to, I need a relationship. I need a relationship. I need that old relationship. I need that one person. I need that one person. So it can be a good practice to give yourself a break in your grief process. If you don't make this so personal, but you make it a bit more universal, and that this level of loneliness is normal and all of us experience it. And it's whether or not we're willing to be honest with ourselves and maybe even be honest with each other, because the world is not honest about this. The world is all designed to cover this up. Like in The Wizard of Oz, don't look at the man behind the curtain. It's the same thing here. Don't look at loneliness behind the curtain. Don't look at that ongoing, gnawing, empty feeling that you have. And certainly, the whole industry of self-help and the industry of live your best life, they're certainly not going to tell you about it, because they're not going to make $1,999 when you buy their course, because they have a solution for you not having to feel that groundless, empty, existential, universal, normal loneliness. So for you and me, this video is to practice. Let's go into it. Bring it. Hang out here. Let's be lonely. Painful stuff. Take a breath. You're not alone, but you're alone. And here we are. I hope that this was helpful. If you like this video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you want to talk to other like-minded people about this idea and other ideas about attachment injuries, attachment trauma, grieving relationships, self-directed healing, and an all-around lovely community of people who are kind and supportive of each other, I have created a community, a membership community, where people come together and we share these ideas. We talk about it, because we realize that we have no choice. It's important for our maturing and for our growth. If you would like to join us, please do. You can learn more. I'll share the URL here. Thank you for watching. More videos to come.